There is a podcast that lies between the imagination of two simple-minded earthlings. Travel with these two longtime friends, Jimbo and 80s E, as they attempt to explore the fifth dimension. Follow along with them as they take the key and unlock the door to the vast space between shadow and substance. This podcast is one of trivia, of insight, and of sounds and ideas from one of the greatest television shows ever produced. You are embarking on a timeless journey. There is your signpost up ahead. You are entering the tragedy of cinema's Twilight Zone.
You're looking at the house of the late Mrs. Henrietta Walker. This is Mrs. Walker herself, as she appeared 25 years ago. And this, except for isolated objects, is the living room of Mrs. Walker's house, as it appeared in that same year. The other rooms upstairs and down are much the same. The time, however, is not 25 years ago, but now. The house of the late Mrs. Henrietta Walker is, you see, a house which belongs almost entirely to the past. A house which, like Mrs. Walker's clock here, has ceased to recognize the passage of time. Only one element is missing now, one remaining item in the estate of the late Mrs. Walker. Her son, Alex, 34 years of age and up till 20 minutes ago, the so-called perennial bachelor. With him is his bride, the former Miss Virginia Lane. They're returning from the city hall in order to get Mr. Walker's clothes packed, make final arrangements for the sale of the house, lock it up, and depart on their honeymoon. Not a complicated set of tasks, it would appear, and yet the newlywed Mrs. Walker is about to discover that the old adage, "You can't go home again," has little meaning in the Twilight Zone.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema podcast, the Twilight Zone series. I'm your host, Jimbo, and today I'm joined once again by my two fellow co-hosts.
Hey, this is Spawn.
This is 80s E.
Boys, we are trudging right along to the end of season 3, but, you know, every time we get a semi-decent episode, we take 2 steps back. This one, we may have just jumped out of the truck and backed over ourselves with this one because this is episode 34, season 3, and it is called Young Man's Fancy. And boy, is it a struggle to get through. I think it took me 3 different times to get through this episode. I don't think I watched it consecutively. So let me go ahead and give you the plot summary of this. And, you know, we were talking off air earlier, and this is one that I don't ever remember seeing. I know Bond said he doesn't ever remember seeing it. 80s, he probably did because he watches them all several times. But do you remember this episode, 80s?
I never watched it originally or even as a kid, but I watched this one. I've probably seen it a couple times just in preparation for this podcast. But yeah, it doesn't really stick out as one of the top tier episodes. I think that'll become apparent as we move along.
Very quickly. So here's a little bit of the plot. Immediately after the wedding, we're not going on a honeymoon right away. We're not opening presents. Immediately after the wedding, Virginia and Alex Walker return to his mother's house to make arrangements for it to be sold. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I got married, my first thing wasn't, hey, I'm going to go sell my mother's house. Okay.
Hey, let's go to mom's.
That was farthest thing from my mind. So Virginia has waited a long time to marry Alex as his domineering mother, Henrietta, smothered him. Going back home has a strange effect on him as he reconnects with his environment, such as his room and his toys. I mean, we all had our favorite toys growing up, right? I think I still have most of mine. But he slowly begins to change, and Virginia realizes that her mother-in-law's influence hasn't subsided at all. So 80s, please take this masterpiece away.
It sounds good on the surface.
I kind of fluffed it up a little bit. Did you like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
you're selling me. You're selling me.
You're selling it really well.
I already got Bond came up a half point.
Oh, all right. So this is season 3 of the Twilight Zone. This is episode 34 entitled Young Man's Fancy. And I think I inadvertently and mistakenly claimed in the last episode that this was episode 100. And I believe I Sing the Body Electric. The next episode after this episode is the 100th episode. I just want to make that correction. So this one was directed by John Brom, and it was written by Richard Matheson. And this one has featured music, and it was by Nathan Scott. And the original air date for this episode was May the 11th, 1962. And we come in with a total production cost of $51,344.12. So right at our benchmark. This episode has one date of rehearsal, and that would be May the 31st, if I could say it, May the 31st, 1961. There were 3 days of filming, June 1st, 2nd, and 5th. So on the first day, we had the interior of Alex, and I guess he shared a bedroom with his mother because it's Alex and mother's bedroom, and that was filmed on stage 8. So that makes it even more weird when we're walking through this. Because you kind of get that feeling, right? Like his trunk with all of his belongings are in the same room as his mother, right? In the episode.
Well, but is it just where she stored it once he grew up? She
maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to put a little too much on it.
I'm going to throw this out here right now. I am shocked and appalled that Richard Matheson wrote this, because he usually comes out with some bangers. Him and Charles Beaumont, them two right there, they usually knock it out of the park. So I might give a little grace to Richard Matheson that he had a flub, okay, after some of the stuff that he's written. Right?
Yeah. So we got the mother's bedroom going back here, the exterior of the Walker house, the interior of the living room and front hall. And that was day 1. Day 2, we filmed the interior of the Walker living room, the hall, stairway, dining room, and kitchen. That was on stage 16. We get a little information about that. So day 1 and day 2 of filming, it's kind of a mixed bag of filming. Like they didn't just stay in one area. So moving on, as pertaining to our original air date, let's talk a little bit about this day in history. On this day in history. All right, so for May the 11th, 1962, let's travel back in time, though, to May the 11th, 1893, and we learn about Henry Desengrange. I'm probably butchering this guy's name. Henry Desengrange. He establishes the world's first bicycle world record. It's 1893. Take it for whatever you want. This bicycle traveled at 21.95 miles an hour. So he was cooking on the bicycle in 1893. Not in distance. We're talking about miles per hour. Speed on a bicycle, he set a record.
Probably going down a mountainside. They couldn't stop is probably why.
Yeah, possibly. So May the 11th, 1934, the Great Dust Bowl storms. Have you guys watched any documentaries about the Dust Bowl of the 1930s? That was wild.
That was amazing.
Yeah, it caused people to move west and out of the plains, and what it did to crops and cattle. And I mean, it was just a devastating disaster. While I think it coincided with the Great Depression, if I'm not mistaken. So the Great Dust Bowl storm sweeps across the American and Canadian prairies, traveling as far as the East Coast. And I remember watching a documentary, and there was a really old man, and he was describing like a dark cloud and this guy lived in Chicago, and he could see it out in the west as it was traveling east. I mean, you could see it for hundreds and hundreds of miles away, this dust cloud that, I mean, devastated people's lives.
People would get stuck in their homes for days because they couldn't, everything was covered in dust and dirt.
Yeah. I remember, too, in this documentary, a guy who, I think he lived in Kansas, and like they would wash their dishes, like Bond was explaining, and all their dishes, like if you had a coffee cup, you had to turn it upside down because you'd have like an inch of dust or dirt on the inside of your coffee cup, like the next morning when you went to make your coffee, and even though you cleaned it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So May the 11th, moving on, May the 11th, 1959, Mary Rogers and Marshall's Bear musical Once Upon a Mattress, starring Carol Burnett, which we'll meet later on this season. And it was directed by George Abbott. It opens in Phoenix, at Phoenix Theater in New York City, later transferring to Alvin Theater, and it had a run of 244 performances. So Once Upon a Mattress, I can only imagine what that musical's about. Let your mind run wild, but Carol Burnett was in it, and like I said, we're going to meet her later on this season, one of the ending episodes. So May the 11th, 1959, moving on, the New York Yankees catcher, Yogi Berra, he has an errorless streak of 148 games that ends in 1959. May the 11th, 1969, British comedy troupe Monty Python performs made up of Gotham Chapman, John Cleese, Terry Gilliam, Eric Idle, Terry Jones, and Michael Palin. I know Jimbo's a big fan of the Monty Python.
What's your favorite Monty Python movie, Eric?
Never seen it.
You've never seen any Monty Pythons?
Never.
Oh my goodness.
Shocking.
All right.
Life of Brian?
Monty Python and the Holy Grail? Search for the Holy Grail?
Yeah, and the Holy Grail?
I've heard it, but I've never seen it.
But you've seen the show, right?
No.
Monty Python's Flying Circus.
No. Nothing.
Wow. Not even the Dead Parrot?
I know who John Cleese is, but I've never seen any of the Monty Python.
Eric Idle is hilarious.
Well,
you've never seen the clip of The Black Knight?
No.
He's like, I challenge you to a duel.
No.
And
the knights who say "nee"?
Nope.
Oh my goodness.
You guys will have to.
Eric, you have to watch Monty Python Holy Grail. I'm going to make you cover that with us, so he has to watch it. It is so ridiculous. It's funny because you'll just start dying laughing at the beginning because is it King Arthur that's the main guy? Bond, I can't remember. I think it's Arthur, and he's got this servant behind him. And he rides like an invisible horse, and the guy behind him has two coconuts going.
He goes, clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop.
And he's going. You have to see it. Oh,
the whole thing's just so silly.
Our toast is going to let you have it because you've never seen that movie.
Yeah. I'm uncultured. I don't know what to say. I just missed that one, I guess. May the 11th, 1972, the great John Lennon says his phone is being tapped by the FBI. He says this on the Dick Cavett show. So back in the 70s, John Lennon, do
you think it was?
Well, of course it was. I mean, they spy on Americans all the time. They didn't know about it back then, I guess. But we'll save that for another show. May the 11th, 1981, Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical Cats, based on the poetry of T.S. Eliot, directed by Trevor Nunn. It opens at the New York London Theater in West End, London.
Eric, have you ever seen Cats?
I have seen the newer version. It was dreadful. The Taylor Swift version?
No. Bond, hit me with a little musical of memories.
Memories. All along on all the days I left behind.
Excellent.
Misty watercolor memories. Of the way
memories all along the way.
Oh, wow.
Not my favorite Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. That would be Phantom of the Opera.
Well, this one ran for 8,949 performances. So it turns out that one was pretty good too.
But I think Phantom of the Opera just stopped last year or something, didn't from like 19.
If it stopped at all.
Sure, of course. All right, May 11th, 1989. The 217th and final episode of the TV soap opera Dynasty is aired.
So, you like Dynasty?
I was too young to watch Dynasty, and it was on late at night, I think. So
I don't think I was allowed to watch Dynasty when it came on.
Yeah.
But were you allowed to watch Dallas, Bond?
What makes you think I was allowed to watch Dallas? Just because I live in
Dallas.
Just because I live in Texas doesn't mean we all watch Dallas. I tell you what.
And then
Knots Landing.
Then finally, May the 11th, 1997, chess-playing computer Deep Blue, developed by IBM, defeats Russian Grandmaster Garry Kasparov in, I don't know chess scores. It says 3.5 minus 2.5 in chess. So the AI beat a Russian. Birthdays. May the 11th, 1875, English pioneer aviator and first. Now, this is interesting. I would have thought Amelia Earhart would have been first, but apparently she was the first woman in the U.S. to receive a pilot certificate and to cross the English Channel. She was born in Arcadia, Michigan, and her name is Harriet Quimby. So Miss Harriet Quimby was the first aviator, female aviator, I guess. May the 11th, 1888, Russian-American composer and lyricist Irving Berlin.
Oh, yeah.
He was considered one of the greatest songwriters in history with songs like Always, God Bless America, White Christmas, and Cheek to Cheek. He was born in Taklarin, Belarus, the Russian Empire. So only 2 birthdays this week.
That's kind of sad, though. If you look at Harriet Quimby, I mean, she died at a young age. She was only 37 when she died.
Yeah. It was 1912 is what I have here. She was born in 1875 and died in 1912. But
did she die in something plane related?
Yeah, I don't know. That was my next question.
Yeah.
I mean, then you look at Irving Berlin, and he was 101.
Right.
Close to it.
A long time. So, yeah, big disparity there on those birthdays.
Let me look up Harriet Quimby, and I'll let you know.
Okay, get back to it. While you're doing that, Bond, why don't you tell us?
It's probably more interesting than this episode.
I'll let Bond tell us about the cast of this great episode. Bond, take it away.
This cast for Young Man's Fancy is very fancy indeed. It starts off, I'm going to start off with Phyllis Thaxter. Phyllis plays Virginia Lane Walker. She plays the newlywed, whose new husband has some mommy issues. She is the mom from the Superman movies, the 1978 Superman movies. Christopher Reeve.
Really?
She plays the mom.
Oh,
yeah.
Didn't know that.
She was also in several episodes of the Alfred Hitchcock Hour. So she's made frequent appearances on that.
That makes sense.
We also have Alex Nichol, who plays Alex Walker, the new husband in this one. He was in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He's also in the episode of The Twilight Zone, Rip Van Winkle.
Caper.
Episode.
The Rip Van Winkle Caper. Remember where they fall asleep?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's in that episode. We have Wallace Rooney, who plays Mr. Wilkinson. Mr. Wilkinson, of course, is the guy who wants to who does the paperwork, wants to have the paperwork signed to sell the house. He played Bishop Michael in the Exorcist movie, which I thought was pretty cool.
One of the highlights of the episode is when he gives a certain look when he's dragged over to the house.
Oh, yeah, when he goes all the way over to the house.
And then Buddy doesn't sign the papers, and he kind of gives Virginia this look like, thanks a lot, like for taking up my time and bringing me over here. That was pretty cool. He
gives him a look like, you got to be kidding me. I had to come all the way out here for nothing. Helen Brown plays Henrietta Walker, the mom. She was in the movie Shane, and she's also in the Twilight Zone episode In His Image. And then we have Ricky Kellman. Ricky Kellman plays the young Alex Walker, the 10-year-old Alex Walker. And he was in a lot of TV westerns. He was in Ma and Pa Kettle movies as their youngest son, Elmer Kettle. And that's about it. I mean, there's only, 5 people in this whole episode. So it's pretty short. It's pretty small.
Ricky says, get out of here, lady. We don't need you anymore.
We don't need you anymore.
All right. Update on Harriet Quimby. Are you ready?
I'm on pins and needles.
First, 1912, Quimby flew in the 3rd annual Boston Aviation Meet at Squantum, Massachusetts. Although she had obtained her ACA certificate to participate in ACA events, the Boston Meet was an unsanctioned contest. Quimby flew out to Boston Light in Boston Harbor at about 3,000 feet or 910 miles, then returned and circled the airfield. William A. P. Willard, the event organizer and father of aviator Charles F. Willard, was a passenger in her brand new 2C Blériot monoplane. At an altitude of 1,000 feet or 300 meters, the aircraft unexpectedly pitched forward for reasons unknown. Willard was ejected. The airplane then flipped over, and Quimby was also ejected. Both fell to their deaths while the plane glided down and lodged itself in the mud. Harry Quimby died at the age of 37, was buried in the Woodlawn Cemetery in the Bronx, New York. So it was an aviation accident.
It was an aviation accident.
But the mystery is solved.
Got ejected from the plane. Okay.
Wow.
And she was only like 1,000 feet off the ground. So that's pretty low to the ground.
Well, I wonder if she would have lived because the plane landed in the mud.
Upside down too, right?
Man.
Well, yeah. I mean, upside down, maybe not, but I'm just thinking if it lands in the mud, maybe she would have lived.
They revoked her license. Like, you crashed, so let's give us your license back.
Send all your hate email to ADZ.
We're taking it back. You can't fly a plane. You crashed. All right, let's move along in this plane crash of an episode. The first act, let's talk about the return to the past. Jimbo, did you have something else?
No, I was just doing the old, like, Wile E. Coyote jumping off the cliff. Remember?
Oh, it's not coming through for some reason in my headphones. Let's talk about a setting and the characters that are introduced in this episode. So Virginia Walker, she's one, and her fiance Alex Walker arrive at his late mother's house to finalize the sale of the property. Virginia is eager to sell, marry, and move forward with their life in the city. And Alex, though, he is initially cooperative, right, in the beginning, but then he begins to feel uneasy being back in his old childhood home. I
have a question. Now, you said her fiance. I thought in the plot summary that I read that they were married already.
Yeah, they were newlyweds.
So it wasn't.
Yeah, they should have been. They're married.
Husband, then, right?
Right. Yeah. I must have messed up, or I don't know why it said fiance there, but
I couldn't remember if
they were newlyweds. Yeah, you're correct. So Alex, he's cooperative, but then when he gets home, by the way, I'll just throw this out at the very beginning. They were playing, and this is in my final remarks, they were supposed to be in their mid-30s, I think. Might have been what Rod said.
34.
They did not look like they were in their 30s. Both of them were pushing 50, and that didn't help sell the story to me, but I digress. That's neither here nor there. But anyway, that was one little thing that kind of bothered me, that
they were both old. Like Bond.
They were old people, which is fine if they want to if they're newlyweds. You don't have to be young newlyweds, but don't lie to us and gaslight us and tell us that they're in their 30s. Yeah. All right. Anyway, moving along. So we have this inciting incident. As they sort through the house, Alex becomes increasingly nostalgic. Small things like toys and books, things that are familiar in his room, they start triggering powerful childhood memories. The picture above the radio that is playing. Okay, this is where my story comes in. So if you look really closely, there's a picture above the old style radio in the living room, and that picture was presented in my grandmother's house. So the story goes, and let me just give you some background, because you probably totally missed it.
What is it a picture of?
Well, that's what I'm about to tell you. So it's a rather risque picture, and I don't know why my very conservative grandmother had this hanging in her house. Well, I know why, because my mom told me why. So I placed a phone call with my mom, and I asked her, I was like, and I told her the whole situation. I was like, hey, that picture was in a Twilight Zone episode, and we're going to talk about it on the podcast. And I said, how did Grandma come to have this picture? And apparently back in the 60s, at grocery stores, you got these books and you would fill them with green stamps. I don't remember what it was called, but there were like several big corporations that, distributed it through your local grocery store. And you can get these stamps. When you filled up the book with the stamps, you could pick from like prizes or things that you wanted. So I guess my grandma decided that she was going to pick this picture. Well, let me describe the picture for you. The picture is like a Roman, I would say Greek or Roman type themed picture or painting. And it depicts like, I'm assuming like it was like the wife of Caesar or something. And she's bathing in this big pool. And there's like big Roman arches behind her. If you like go and look at the episode, you can
let me go look at this.
You can kind of make it out. Well,
it's for research. That's my prop for research purposes.
So anyway, The woman is okay in scale. The woman is in the foreground. She's in the front of the picture, but she's very small, like almost microscopic, and you can sort of make out like you can't really see anything. It's not overtly bad or anything because she's in contrast to these huge arches that are in the backdrop, these Roman arches or whatever. So anyway, the story goes, when I was a kid, I was probably like 7 or 8 years old. My cousins, we all went to visit my grandmother, and this picture again was prominently displayed in like the living room. And I don't know about you guys, but like there were certain parts in my grandmother's house where only adults were allowed to go. Like kids weren't allowed to go in there. And all the nice furniture and everything, the plastic cover.
Sure, yeah. Like the dining room. You're not allowed to go in the dining room.
Exactly. But in order to go to the bathroom, you had to pass through this living room and go down the hallway to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom one time. My cousins were out there in the living room waiting on me to come out. And when I came out, we started looking at this painting, and they started laughing. And they were like, "Look at that lady, she's naked." And we were laughing and yucking it up. And of course, they were, making a big scene. And just as they were laughing about it, my grandmother comes into the room and gave us the worst reprimand. My grandmother, maybe on one hand in my whole life, like I got in trouble. She was the nicest lady, sweetest woman ever. I never saw her she never got mad, like hardly ever. That one time though, she ripped us up one side and down the other. We got in so much trouble for pointing and jeering and, punching each other and laughing at this painting. She told us like, "Get out of this room right now." But that's my story. So
that's awesome. Man.
I don't need
like green stamp pornography.
I don't need a prop piece. Well, here's the best part. I already own the prop piece. Well, my mom owns the prop piece. It is at her house currently. When my grandmother died, of course, that was one of the things that got taken out of the house. So I don't need to pick a prop piece because I already have access to it. So there you go.
Wow, that's a first.
Yeah,
are you getting it? And is it part being willed to you in the future?
No, that thing is horrible. I wouldn't put that up in my house.
You have to get it.
Podcast.
No.
For the sake of the podcast, you have to get it now.
It's awful.
You tell your mom I need it for the man cave.
So anyway, that's the story behind the prop piece. And I'm sorry I couldn't get an interview, but there you go. So that is going back to our story here, our episode. We have all these nostalgia, things that play in Alex's mind as he re-enters the house. The ghosts of Christmas past, whatever you want to call it, they start to infiltrate his mind, and he starts to waver in his urgency to sell the old home so that he can move on with his new life. And he finds it difficult to part with his mother's belongings despite Virginia's impatience. And so we start to see this tension starts to build, right, between the two of them. And they're newlyweds. And it's Virginia. Got that wrong. She becomes frustrated with Alex's sentimentality, right? She doesn't understand. And then we come to understand a little bit of the backstory. Like, she's been waiting to marry this guy for 12 years. I think that wasn't it like 12 years?
That freaked me out. I was going to mention that. They've been dating for 12 years. That is oh my gosh, that's a long time. She's the most patient woman.
Indeed.
Because this guy's a mama's boy.
Oh, for sure.
And has been for 12 years, and she's stuck around.
I can't imagine
I don't know any woman that would stick around for 12 years to marry a guy.
Yeah, the apron strings were like super tight with this guy. No kidding. Yeah, that staggered my mind. But anyway, she's rightfully so. She is like totally frustrated. So then enter the real estate agent. So someone has given him a call, and they discuss the details of the sale of the house. The real estate agent does with Virginia, and congratulates them on being newlyweds and so forth. And the agent eventually comes over. I think that's in Act 2. Well, he's very practical and professional. His presence emphasizes Virginia's desire to finalize the sale, And we see that contrast with Alex's growing reluctance, right? That kind of comes to a head when the real estate guy hands the papers, the documents, the sign to sell the house. And Alex goes, I think I just need to think about this. And then, he's just completely, the real estate agent is just like completely dumbfounded. Like, why are you wasting my time?
Yeah, doesn't he say something like, come back tomorrow or something? Let me think about it. Just come back tomorrow. Let me think about it. Let me sleep on it.
Yeah. And then it's revealed that Alex, again, throughout this episode is very attached to his mother. And Virginia is just trying any way possible she can to break him away and break him out of this like hold that his mother has on him. One other prop piece, I'll offer it up to you guys, maybe you would want it, is the grandfather clock, right, in the entryway. That kind of plays a key visual, like it starts and stops, and you can go with the thematic. The house itself is like frozen in time, and it's frozen in Alex's mind. Like he doesn't want to move forward with his life. It's like time standing still is representative in that grandfather clock.
And don't things throughout the house, don't they jump through time? Like it's like the house itself, like the object in the house itself, they're stuck in this weird time warp where there's like the vacuum cleaners and the telephones. It's just things are always shifting from one time to another.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like the kitchen too, right? The kitchen is modern.
Yeah, the kitchen looks different.
It's modern for the 60s, and then it starts to regress back to like what it would have been in the 1930s. And
the magazines that are in the house and those kind of things too.
Right. And so that's kind of the end of Act 1. We'll jump into Act 2. So we have a nostalgia, which turns obsessive. We've touched on it a little bit already. So the real estate agent, he arrives. He discusses details of the sale. Alex begins acting erratically, right? His emotional state regresses. He starts behaving more like a boy than a grown man, right? And you kind of see that as we move along in the episode. He just regresses, right? His emotional state returns to more boy-like than a man who has a wife and moving on with his adult life. So Virginia is unnerved as Alex begins to resist leaving the house, claiming that he doesn't feel ready to move on. And then we have supernatural elements emerge. The past starts to manifest, as we've already talked about a little bit. It starts to manifest literally as the lights dim, decor change. It starts to look how it looked decades ago. And then Alex actually hears his mother's voice calling to him. And then we get into like this sort of time warp. And then Virginia, she of course feels displaced in the home and no longer grounded in the present. And then we have the climax of the conflict when Virginia tries to snap Alex out of it and convince him to leave. He refuses and he begins to revert back to a childlike state. His mother's presence in the house becomes increasingly more real and more powerful, almost as if she's returning from the beyond. Jimbo, anything from Act 2? He's not big on comments in this episode. He doesn't like one single thing.
No.
All right. Moving on. Act 3. Regression and surrender. In the episode's climactic moment, Alex is no longer a man at all. He is a young boy now, and his mother reappears in the house, alive and well, seemingly plucked from the past. Virginia is horrified and realizes that she has lost him completely, not to death, but to memory. And so I got a little snippet here that I'm going to throw in right here, and we get a picture of what that looks like.
Yes, it's true. You always known it's true, and you hated me for it. Well, your hatred isn't strong enough now. Your desire to dominate him isn't strong enough. He's not your little boy anymore. Leave him be. You will not have him back.
This is not my doing.
Come back to me, Mother. I want you to.
we go to the park and then to the zoo and have 2 ice cream cones? Oh, boy. Go away, lady. We don't need you anymore.
There you go. All of the young man's fancy wrapped up in one clip. See?
I love this. I love the line that the mom says when she says, "This is not my doing," because the whole time she's blaming the mom for not letting go. Right? Virginia's blaming the mother.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave him alone. Mm-hmm. He's mine now. He's mine now. Just leave him alone. Leave us alone so we can start our life together.
I kind of get a little Anthony Perkins vibe from Psycho at this third act with his mom or whatever.
A mother's obsession type thing.
Yeah, I think I have something mentioning that in the trivia. I think also along with that trivia point, well, I might just be able to throw it in here. I think it was one of the Richard Matheson. Yeah, I got it right here. It says he commented later that he liked this episode very much, except for the last few minutes. He felt the mother should have been more scary looking since she was supposed to be a ghost. And along with that, I'll ask you guys, what do you think? I think she should have just remained silent and just looked scary when she speaks. I don't know. I think it kind of ruins the fear factor, in my opinion. Yeah.
Agree.
It didn't bother me at all. I mean, that one, because she has that one creepy line.
Yeah.
Like, she put that one line means that it's not the mom's fault that he can't let go. It's all his fault that he can't let go.
Yeah, he needs to man up and take ownership.
Yeah, because if it was up to the mom would just die and disappear. But she can't. He's keeping her there too.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So by him holding on to the past, like he can't release
she can't
her.
Move on.
He can't leave either. She's stuck in purgatory, basically.
Yeah, that makes
because he
more
can't let go.
And it is his fault. Yeah. Like he's blaming it on the mom. But he just needs to grow up and move on with his life. This lady's waited 12 years to marry you, dude. Like, wake up.
I'm assuming that this episode's a lot scarier for a lot of women out there who have been dating a man for years and years and years, who have had to deal with the mama's boy kind of guys.
Yeah.
And so, we're sitting here going, I don't know about this episode, but I guarantee you there's a lot of women out there that are going, I can relate to this episode. I know exactly.
Probably lived through it.
Yeah, probably right.
Yeah, and lived through it and had to leave a guy or dump a guy because he wouldn't leave his mom or he wouldn't
commit to her.
Yeah, wouldn't commit because of his mother.
Yeah. Still applicable today. All right,
this episode's going higher and higher.
Yeah, it's moving up the charts.
I mean,
I like Bond's perspective.
Basement, you can't go very high.
You can't go lower.
All right. Trivia wise, let's learn a few facts about this episode. The opening shot showing the home is reused in the very next episode in Icing the Body Electric. Although Rod's opening narration describes the character Alex Walker as 34 years old, Alex Nichols, get this, he was 46 at the time. So 12 years older than what he was playing. The carpeting on the steps have a design that looked like ladies' eyes. So I guess if you really zoomed in on the carpet on the steps, you would see that. One of 16 of the 156 episodes of The Twilight Zone that involved the appearance of a ghost. So that's interesting, I guess. Alex Walker's childhood books include Tarzan and the Jewels of Opar from 1916, Tarzan and the Ant-Men from 1924, the Hardy Boys novel The Secret of Caves, 1929, and Bill Bolton and Hidden Danger was a novel by Noel Stansberry from 1933. So those are all referenced in the, when he opens the big trunk and starts going through all of his stuff. He's like, oh, cool, the Hardy Boys and blah, 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 whatever. Usually this episode does not feature any dialogue before the opening narration. Unusually. Wait a minute, that was sort of normal early on in season 1, right? Where Rod didn't make an appearance. Oh, I see what it's saying. So there was actually no dialogue. Okay.
Dialogue.
So it opens straight away. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Carol Lombard is on the cover of 1936 issue of Screen Digest, the magazine that was on the chair. Carol Lombard, she was famous. She was a famous film actress known for her sharp comedic timing, beauty, and vivacious screen presence. She became one of Hollywood's top stars in the 1930s, especially known for her roles in screwball comedies, and she was married to Clark Gable of Gone with the Wind fame. And their relationship is one of Hollywood's most iconic romances. She tragically died on January 16, 1942, in a plane crash near Las Vegas, Nevada. She was 33. So we got two ladies killed in plane crashes in this episode. I mean, whew. And then my horrible childhood story, prop story. This thing is going down faster than any one of those planes. Let's wrap up a few more trivia points here. As with Ed Lindsay in Static 1961, Alex Walker has fond memories of old-time radio shows, The Major Bowes Amateur Hour, and The Fred Allen Show. Those were featured shows that were on other Twilight Zone. They were referenced. Let's see. Anything interesting? The initial script called for the closing to be a bit different. After young Alex tells Virginia, "Goodbye, lady," she catches her breath faintly as the door closes. Screaming his name, she lurches up the remaining steps and rushes to Alex's room. Virginia flings open the door and freezes, gasping, standing in the room as it looked in the 1930s. Everything seen through a shimmering haze, fading until there is only 1961 room with no boy and no mother, staring at an empty room with dazed, uncomprehending eyes. The camera tilts towards the heavens. I like that ending better.
Almost like he got sucked back up into 1932.
Yeah, I think that ending is better than the one that we get. So that's all I have with trivia. Observations, questions. Why did all the decor revert back to the old style? I think we kind of answered that throughout the episode. It was a visual symbol of the past literally overwhelming the future. Thoughts, feelings, observations, ratings. Jimbo, you go first this time.
I think that this episode would have worked better in season 4 as an hour long, at least the 45, 50 minutes, because they tried to cram too much stuff in there and kind of took you out of the story a little bit. I mean, you see that he's a man-child, basically. And let's face the facts. If any one of our mothers died, how would that make you feel? You're going to feel bad, and all the memories that you had, you'd want to hang on to. Sure. It's just, I think they tried to do too much with too little of time, and it really missed the mark for me. I think the lady on the stairs, the mom on the stairs, I thought she looked pretty creepy, like a 1960s mom, I think, 50s mom. She has just that look about her that's like, basically, I don't like you either. To the girl, yeah. I mean, that was kind of scary. I will take the Hardy Boys book as the prop because I do believe I have it on my shelf over here anyway. But the Hardy Boys are one of my childhood favorites as well. So me and the guy got along pretty fine with those. But for me, if I'm going to rate this, if we're going to be fair and taking the whole episode as a whole, costumes were great. A lot of the old antiques were great. I think the set design was pretty well. It actually looked like a house that had been brought up, preserved in that era. Some of the dialogue fell flat for me, though. The wife she was a nagger. You know what I mean? Just, and they were just married. But I guess after 12 years of waiting to be married, what do you expect? But she should have known what she was getting into before she even got married. I would have ran far from him after 2 years of waiting for him to pop the question. I would have ran.
Yeah. Who do we blame in this episode? Do we blame Alex? Do we blame the mother, or do we blame Virginia? I think they all carry some blame in how this situation ended up.
We're big Office fans here, right? So what happened with Jim and
Pam?
Not Jim. Pam and the warehouse guy.
Roy.
Yeah, they were getting the Dundies for the longest engagement for like 3 or 4 years in a row, right? Or whatever it was.
Exactly.
So, and what happened to her? She ended up running and went to gym anyway. So if I take all that into consideration, and I don't know what the lowest episode of the Twilight Zone I've ever rated is, I'm going to be fair. I'm taking everything into consideration. I will give it a 4.
All right. I'll let Bond have the last word. So I'll go ahead and jump in and thoughts, feelings, ratings for me. I think it did pretty well. When we talk about supernatural as a metaphor of emotional regression, and emotional regression is just when a person reverts to behaviors, thoughts, feelings, or typical of younger age. We've said it already, like this guy just never really grew up. It's often, though, a response, and I copied this from the internet, it's often in response to stress, trauma, or overwhelming emotions. So when you have extreme, instances of mama's boy or whatever you want to call it, I guess there is something really psychological happening on the inside, like that causes that type of regression. So I thought it did a pretty good job of, playing that out, and the mentality or the emotionality of like going backwards instead of dealing with things as an adult. And I think we can look around in society and maybe see some touches of that. But here's just my remarks. The Twilight Zone episode, The Young Man's Fancy, works as a haunting cautionary tale, though it falls short in some key areas. The mother's character could have been portrayed with more chilling presence, something closer to an unnerving menace, such as, like Jimbo mentioned this earlier, Psycho, which would have had amplified tension. The adult actors who were playing in their early 30s came across as too old for the roles, which diluted the believability of the conflict. That said, the central theme stands out: the danger of obsessing over the past and the crucial need to break free from the apron strings of arrested development, echoing the biblical wisdom to leave father and mother and cleave to one's wife. Phyllis, although that's the actress who played Virginia, although too old for the role as the newlywed wife, desperate for independence, she played the woman on edge with great intensity, embodying both frustration and fragility. I thought she did a good job. She was the bright spot in the episode. Overall, while flawed, this episode delivers a sharp and unsettling warning about the perils of clinging to childhood comforts at the cost of adult life and love. I'm going to rate it a 6. I've got my risque prop piece, and I'm going to give Bond the last word. Go ahead, Bond. Tell me what you think.
I'm still trying to choke down that 6 you just gave it. Woo.
Well, it got a 6.5, so I gave it a half a point below.
He always needs these, let me see what IMBD rated is so I could go a half a point higher or a half a point lower.
Man, okay, so this episode, I blame the mother about, 10%, 20% blame goes to the mother. Another 20% goes to the wife, but you got to give at least 60% to the husband in this one. I do think the actors were way too old to play the roles. I don't know why they just didn't get younger people to play newlyweds.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, that seems like
she's been waiting for 12 years to marry him, so there had to be some time.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I mean, if they met their 20s,
20, yeah.
And so I'm like, you know what? The mom should have kicked the boy out of the house. At some point, you got to kick your boy out of the house and say, move on. The wife, Virginia, needs to say, hey, guy, we've been dating for almost 2 years now. And it's not like now where people date for a long time. Back in the 60s, people met and got married.
Yeah.
They would meet and get married within months. You hear those stories all the time. I met your grandfather, and we were married in 3 weeks. Yeah, it's like we've been married for 50 years.
Yeah, how many people went to Woodstock? Everybody.
And everybody ended up married, right? This episode's not very good. It's just boring.
Yeah.
It's just a boring episode. I like the little details in the house. The vacuum cleaners are so cool. They have like these old school vacuum cleaners. Mm-hmm. They have these old school magazines. My prop piece has to be the Carol Lombard magazine. I think that's what I'm taking as my prop piece. just because there's a little bit of history there, and I like the history behind that.
Sure, bud.
Sounds good.
I looked at that magazine I'm thinking I had this down as a 4.
4.
It's a below average episode. If average is 5, it's below average.
Okay, so average is 5.
There's no big twist. What's the big twist to it? The big twist is he turns 10 years old at the end.
Right.
Who cares? He acted like a 10-year-old before.
All right.
I do like the alternate ending version better.
Yeah.
I might reconsider my rating. You got, I mean, we brought Bond up on the last episode, and you guys have brought me down. I'll go down to like, if 5 is baseline, yeah, I'd say it's probably, I'll go to a 5.5. I'll be fair.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
You
All right.
convinced me.
Well, now that we've got through this episode, let's just hope that these final few episodes of season 3, we can get a home run out of at least one of them. I'll be surprised or be happy. But I know there's a couple coming up that ain't going to cut the mustard either. So, Eric, why don't you go ahead and give us a preview for the next episode?
The next episode, entitled I Sing the Body Electric. Let's hear from Rod.
And now, Mr. Serling.
The name Ray Bradbury has become synonymous with a new horizon of American writing. Next week on The Twilight Zone, we present a typical Bradbury tale. It also has typical Bradbury ingredients, including a grandmother built in a factory. Now, if this doesn't intrigue you, then I'm simply not doing justice to a most intriguing tale. I hope you'll join us next week for I Sing the Body Electric.
And don't forget your Chesterfield cigarettes.
No, he didn't plug an ad for Chesterfield in this one.
They must have lost the sponsorship, huh?
Yeah.
The sweet taste of Chesterfield.
Well, I think this episode's coming to a close, and that's a wrap.
And
Cut.
Exit Miss Virginia Lane. Formally and most briefly, Mrs. Alex Walker. She has just given up a battle and in a strange way retreated. But this has been a retreat back to reality. Her opponent, Alex Walker, will now and forever hold a line that exists in the past. He has put a claim on a moment in time and is not about to relinquish it. Such things do happen in the Twilight Zone.